Good day and welcome to another episode of Around Windsor. This is episode number 65 and it will be the last of the Around Windsors that we do as I am the town manager. Today is my last official day on the job. On Monday, Trevor Lashua will be taking over. Anyway, we're here at Railyards Park down behind the station restaurant, and this is something I know many people in the community aren't familiar with. Some people ask why in the world we spent the money to do this, but I think this is like one of the biggest deals that we've done in a long time here in Windsor. When I came to town, and for a few years after that, this was a derelict piece of property full of junk and litter, sitting here right in the middle of the community as an eyesore. And Bob Haight purchased the property from the previous owners, got it into friendly hands, and over the years you've seen it just get cleaned up. We did a little brownfields remediation, got the exchange, the blue building, up and going where we've had many of events. And we finally got to the point where it needed to go to the next level, and before we could do anything, we needed to remediate some minor brownfields contamination. So we got a grant for about $450,000 to put a layer of clean soil over the old soil that's there and take care of removing the brownfields concern. So that was a big deal, and just doing that turned it from a derelict, overgrown piece of property into a usable piece of property. And then since then, we've put in a skate park, there's a dog park, there's a picnic area, and we're going to take a walk around and look at all of those. But I just wanted to give you why did we pick doing the things we did. There was a community demand for a skate park. They wanted us to refurbish the one that was at the fairgrounds. We thought we could one up that and build a proper concrete park. The dog park here is kind of just like a throw-in. We cleaned up the property, but all we had to do is run a piece of fence to turn it into a dog park. So now we have a dog park in town and another one out at the fairgrounds, but that was the point, not because there was a burning need for two dog parks. It was just a cheap way to use the property. Behind me here is one of the unique things about the park. You know, we call it the Railyards because there used to be a lot of rail activity here. And that's a piece of sculpture that Terry McDonald had made, and it is a switch from the rails that used to be here. It was found on the property when we were doing some of the excavation, and Terry turned that into a sculpture. There's a number of other gates on the walkways that are from rails that we found here that Terry took to WeldTech, and they turned them into the ornamental gates that we'll see. So just one of the little neat aspects about this park. So let's take a walk around and see what we're going to find. So now we're in phase one of the skate park, and Parker Construction is building this. Michael Parker, the owner, is an avid skateboarder and is just passionate about it. So he's designed it and he's done the construction. I'm not a skateboarder, but from what I understand, this is a pretty cool skate park. We had to cut back on the first iteration because of some lack of funding. So we built the park in two phases. This is phase one. It's about 4,000 square feet. And to my right here, with the mounds of hardpack, they're just getting to work here on phase two. And it will be another 4,000 square foot section that will be interconnected so you can travel from one to the other as you're skating. The expectation is phase two will be completed by the end of the summer, but that you'll be able to use phase one while construction for phase two is going on, at least on most days. So I think this is something that's going to be comparable to the Lebanon skate park that we hear so much about, and it's going to be an asset in this community for years to come. All right, so now we're on the kind of the center section, a little further south from where we were before, and again, this was brownfields that has been remediated. We installed a walking path that takes a loop around the property. It's exactly 1/4 mile long, so for people who are interested in measuring how far they go, you got a 1/4 mile walking loop. Right now, the final section is impeded by the second section of the skate park, so it's not completely put together, but when it's all done, that will be the case. You can see some of the other sculptures I was talking about. These were all made from rails that we found on the property, cut and put along the walking trails. We also have a couple of pieces of equipment over here that are just remnants from Windsor's industrial past that we'll be placing on the property. They were here before, so we're just putting that as a nod to some of the industry that took place down in this section of the town back in the time. We also have the blue building, the exchange. You know, you may have been to events here in the past. The town owns that now, and we will continue to have events. It's could use a little tender loving care, and it'll be up to the community in the years ahead to decide if they want to run water and sewer service to it. It's basically right outside the door, but to connect it and expand it, maybe make it insulated, or not, just leave it as a summer venue for events that would like a place to be held. So the next part is the red buildings. I get a lot of questions about that. We call that the Stacy Yard, and the town does own that. We use some of the sheds for storage of our highway equipment. This red building right in front is another old freight house from the Railyards days. About where that rock line is the end of what we did to remediate the property here, but we have a grant to take the remediation all the way through to the buildings on the far side. Rumor has it that there's an old train turntable underneath the dirt in that section, that the different sidings were here. Trains would come in and you have to get turned around to go back the other direction, so they would go on that turntable and get turned around. We'll see if we find that. If we do, that'd be a neat thing to incorporate into the overall park. Okay, well now we're in the picnic grove, we'll call it, section of the Railyards. It's about 90 degrees out today, so it's nice here in the shade. The tables are obviously intentionally put in the shade so you could escape some of that direct sun. The other thing is that we have a few grills that we've installed. So this is something that you won't be able to reserve this area, kind of like you can't reserve the pavilion at the fairgrounds, but they're certainly here and open to the public. So a nice little spot for picnics. If you're having a family party, there's plenty of room to set up a badminton thing or croquet, whatever your thing happens to be, or just do hot dogs and hamburgers and sit here in the shade. So these will be here. Just one more nice little outdoor amenity for Windsor. And the last part of art we're going to talk about is down here is the far end of the park. And art is in the eye of the beholder for sure. But this red, white, and green cupola is off of the barn that was owned by Marie Drescher. And Marie was an actress back in the day who had a property up by the golf course in Windsor, and she was famous for playing Tugboat Annie. So somebody back in the day had the foresight to just save a little remnant from her home that I believe burned. You have to look it up. Marie Drescher. Look it up, find out more on your own time. But that's what that is. We had some folks in town, Tom Prisby and Bill Valentine, that took the time to paint it, get it refurbished, and we've placed it here, and we'll do something with it. But between this, the old machinery, the artifacts from the Railyards, it just makes it a unique property here, something that another community may want to say, we want one just like that, but you're going to have to come to Windsor to enjoy the Railyards Park. So whether it's skateboarding, walking, picnicking, you're in the middle of downtown, have dinner at the station and walk off some of their good food on the trails, it's not a bad place to be. And we can see future development down here, but this is another one of the areas that we've really taken from an eyesore to a real asset. So I hope you come down, take a look at it, and enjoy it.